It's Monday night, and that means it's time for Monday Night Nerd. Welcome, everybody, to Monday Night Nerd. I'm so glad you can all stop by tonight. We are here to talk about my top 10 Disney animated movies. I have been a Disney fan like everyone else since birth. I can't wait to hear what everyone else says in the chat. Before we get into that, though, if you've never been here before and you're a Disney fan, hi, my name is Myerscorp Cosplay. I've been a cosplayer for over 5 years, really for 5 years. Actually been cosplaying for over a decade. I've been going to conventions for over a decade. I've been a nerd since birth. I have so many cool stories. That's what I do here. I talk about stuff that I'm interested for, fun stories, fun things. We're just having fun here on Monday Night Nerd. If you can, leave a like, leave a subscribe. I greatly appreciate it. I just want to grow this channel and make it really, if there's only 5 of you watching, I still appreciate it. I don't need 1 billion people, but if you like it, it gets it out to more people and maybe they'll like it. That's why I'm here. But I hope you guys are doing well. I'm doing great. It's been a great week here. I apologize for anybody who stopped by last week. I was feeling really under the weather. I popped as much medication as I could at work and when I got home, and I just was not feeling it. And I didn't want to give you a subpar show. So I'm here today. I am bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, ready to do Monday Night Nerd. Before we get into that, though, we are obviously going to talk about a little bit of news because it's been 2 weeks, so I got a couple things to talk about. Let's start off with a little bit of Disney news, but not of the animated form. We're going to talk about Loki Season 2. We have now had 3 episodes of the new season of Loki, and I have to admit, I did not like the first season of Loki. I did not like the first season of Loki. I enjoyed Owen Wilson and Tom Hiddleston interacting. I think they are a great duo. I love the camaraderie. I love the back and forth. I love the little cheap shots here and there. I think they're a great duo. When it came to the storyline and how they introduced Kang, I really felt like it was a real struggle to get my interest. I think because Thanos had such a big presence, it really delinquated the way that Kang felt. And I felt like it was just a little too meh. This season, however, has really got my attention. Again, I still think the best part of this show is Tom Hiddleston and Owen Wilson going back and forth. I enjoy Ki-Hu Kwan as, I cannot remember his name, but the little assistant that's helping him. I think that's a perfect role for him. In fact, I've seen a lot of people suggest that because this role isn't really known that much, is there a possibility that he is actually the villain of all this? I'm interested to find out about that because that would make it really cool because I don't think anyone before the show started would have thought that would have been the case. Overall, the first 3 episodes have been good. The first episode, I feel, has been the best because, again, it was Owen Wilson and Hiddleston going back and forth a lot. Once they introduced the concept of, if you haven't seen it, obviously Miss Minutes is playing a part in it. The leader of the TVA has a big role in it. I don't want to spoil too much in case people haven't seen the episodes. But I'm enjoying this season a lot more. I'm willing to give it a fair shake. It is definitely better than the past few seasons of shows or the past few series of shows that Marvel has put out. I definitely think this has a better direction than the previous ones had. I am worried that this series is going to have the same problem as some other ones where we're going to have a whole bunch of things happen that feel impactful and feel like they make a difference, and then we realize they don't. But that's unfortunately something we're going to have to just deal with until we get to the end to realize how much what is happening now is going to impact the overall arc of the Marvel Universe. But like I said, overall, great show so far. I'm enjoying it. I'm not watching every single episode as it comes out, but I'm trying to keep up. And I think there's 6 episodes, maybe 8 for this season. So I'm interested to see where it goes. It was a pretty good cliffhanger that they left on episode 3. So let's see what happens in episode 4, which will be coming out, I believe, Wednesday night, Thursday morning. So far, so good for Loki season 2. If you guys were around on Thursday and visited the buddies at the Geeks & Co. show, They had an episode where I was a guest on it, and we had a lot of fun on that one. We were talking about culture and cosplay and how much pop culture plays into cosplay, or does it? Or, do certain things influence certain things? It was a great discussion about how when the world changes, different things happen in the cosplay world and different influences will impact different things, including technology and everything else. JS is in the chat. Hello, JS. I hope you're doing great. It was a great discussion. The first 25 minutes, I don't think we stopped laughing. And I will let you guys jump onto their channel and check out the show to see why we laughed for pretty much 25 minutes straight. But yeah, it was a great time with the Geeks and Co. folks. I hope I'm on again. They kill it every single time. And just maybe by my watch, they might be coming on here in the next few weeks. So stick around, check out social media. Always stay on my social media because I'm going to talk about new things that are coming up on the show on there first. So don't miss out. Update for this week. So I originally had said that I will be attending Frightmare on the Saturday. However, changes have happened in the past couple weeks. Unfortunately, the person that was going to be watching Jazz, my dog, is unfortunately not able to on the Saturday. So I will not be going to Frightmare on the Saturday. However, I will be going on the Friday. I will be there all day Friday, volunteering as I would on the Saturday. I will be there. I will be having a blast. I cannot wait to meet the Halloween cast. Let me see. I might have it easily available. I have a binder of autographs that I have gotten over the years, not just from Comic-Con, but other things around the world. Let me see. Talk amongst yourselves. There we go. So this is what I'm probably going to get signed, and I'm excited to get it signed. That is my Halloween #1 poster. And if you notice the signature here, that is Mr. John Carpenter. He was at Fan Expo, I want to say 2011, 2012. And I got that signed by him, which is kind of one of the hardest ones, except maybe Jamie Lee Curtis, to get signed. So I've got the hard one. Now I'm going to get the rest of the cast. And then once I get them, the only one I will need is Jamie Lee Curtis to get signed. And I'm super excited. And it is going to cost me a pretty penny to do it, but it will be good. It'll be worth it. And I keep telling myself, because I hate spending money on autographs, because I see, like, I do these cons all the time. So the whole getting the autograph thing is kind of down. Like, I'm not really into it as much, but it's the Halloween cast and I'm kind of named Michael Myers. So it's kind of, I feel like it's a little bit of an obligation. So I will be there on Friday and I hope to see you guys there. If I don't get to see you, I'm sorry. Things changed at the last minute. So can't do much about that, but I will be on the Sunday at the Awesome Toy Show in Mississauga. I can't wait to go there. I will be rocking Ghost Rider. It will be a blast and a half, and that's what everyone is telling me. Everybody that has been to this convention has told me how good it is, and I'm excited to find out why it's so great, because like I said, I'd heard little things about this con from other cosplayers and other people that have gone to it, but everything's been positive and I've always wanted to go, and this gives me a reason to go, and I'm like, we're gonna go and we're gonna have a blast. Like I said, I'll be in Ghost Rider. It will be a fun day. So if you're there, stop by, say hi, say howdy, take some photos. I'm more than happy to talk. I can't wait to see you all there. Yesterday, I had a really, really fun time. If you're in the Ontario, Southern Ontario, Hamilton, Toronto area, you might have seen an ad or seen a commercial for a Jurassic Park or Jurassic World exhibit going on in Mississauga at Square One. I went. It was a really fun time. So if you don't know, there is a stage show, which is, I call it Jurassic Park on Ice. It's not on ice, but that's sort of what it is. Not that. This is a walkthrough experience, similar if you've seen the Stranger Things one or the Avengers one that was here a while back. It's similar to that, but it was very interactive. It was really, really fun. We got there around 1 o'clock and there wasn't many people there. We walked in, it was my wife, myself, and a friend, and we were by ourselves basically. We did the entire experience, just the three of us. And you walk through different parts of Jurassic Park, and My buddy Tom, my brother Tom is in the chat. If you're not on Facebook, he's in the chat right now. He's listening, and his little boy Oliver is saying hi, Uncle Mike. And I got to see Oliver on Saturday, and I haven't seen him in a while, and I hope to see him again soon. He's a little guy, and he is adorable. Love him. Hi, buddy. As I was saying, so it was really cool. So when you first get there, let's start from the beginning. When you first walk into the Jurassic World, they put you in a room and it looks like you're on a boat, and the windows are all TV screens and they all click on, and it's the water. So it makes it feel like you're kind of traveling across the water to get to Isla Sorna. And then you walk out of the boat and you're there, and they have big, huge animatronics and people talking about it as if they're actors talking as if they were working for the park. And you get to pet dinosaurs. They talk about how they breed the dinosaurs, and they show you baby dinosaur and little hatchling dinosaurs and the big Brachiosaurus. And then you run into the T-Rex and you see Blue running around. It was a really fun time. Even as, 35, older, it's still a fun time. And even when I felt there was like a moment where I felt awkward, where I could kind of tell these guys are used to dealing with kids, but they still made everything seem fun, even though we're all adults. And yeah, it was a blast and a half. I can't say anything bad about it. A friend that we were with, Bonnie, she had been to the Friends one. She's been to the Stranger Things one. And she said those were pretty good too. But she said this was one of the better ones that she's been to. So I was pretty happy we went. And I ended up getting a Jurassic Park hoodie with just a black hoodie with the Jurassic Park logo on it, which I've always wanted one, but trying to get something that basic seems easy, but it's impossible. But yeah, that was yesterday. And then we went over to Square One and we walked around there for a bit, and we went to Hot Topic, and I picked up my new shirt, Tweak and Craig equal Creek, which I saw on the wall, and I just had to buy it because I don't have a South Park shirt, and I thought this was adorable. So yeah, that was my day yesterday, and it was a blast. So if you have kids, even if you don't have kids and you're a nerd, go check out this Jurassic Park thing. I don't know how long it's gone for. I think it's like $40-$50 to get a ticket. It was about a half hour, and it was a blast. Go have fun and enjoy it. You get to pet dinosaurs. The actors put on a good show. Big T-Rexes, big Brachiosaurus and stuff. Go. It's actually a lot of fun. I want to say there's one more piece of news. You know what? I can't think of it. We're already at the 12-minute mark. I got one more thing to talk about, and then we're going to jump into the main event. I've had a few people come to me and ask me what applications I use for my content, because there's so many to choose from, and I don't know if they've just seen this work for me or they're just asking whatever. So I'm going to tell you guys what I use for graphics, what I use for video, and what I use for the podcast. So when it comes to the podcast, it is called Talk Studio Streamlabs. It is a paid subscription. It's about $10 US a month, and I can do the intro like you saw. There's an outro I can do, the logo. I'm pretty good with it. The logo in the corner, stuff like that. It's a really good program. It only records at about 720p, 7 whatever p. So it's not full HD, but honestly, I don't think you guys notice a difference. I don't think it matters that much. You do get the full 1080 stream for yourself. So if I want to cut other things later, I can in full 1080, but that's what I use. When it comes to graphics, if I need to make any digital graphics or I do any editing, I do have an Adobe subscription. I don't use it a ton. I use it for some things when it comes to editing photos here and there. I used to use Illustrator for all my graphics, but honestly, use Canva. Canva.com is such a great platform. I learned that a couple years ago, and it is a lifesaver. It's so easy to use. It's honestly pick up and play, basically, if you're a gamer. I have the paid subscription, so it gives me a little extra bonus features because I use it so much, I might as well pay for it. And then when it comes to editing video post this stream or any other stream, CapCut. It's TikTok's video app. You can get the mobile version, and there's also a desktop version. I use the desktop version because I'm a lot quicker at mouse and keyboard than I am on my phone. I'm older, I know, but both apps work great. So yeah, those are the 3 I use if you ever wanted to know. Let's go into the sponsor quick, and then let's dive into the list because I can't wait to hear what everyone says. Sponsor, as always, if you're new to this channel, this is my sponsor every single week until someone pays me some money. And even then, this person will still be number one. And that is my wife. My beautiful wife will always be my number one sponsor because, again, I would not be here doing this without my wife. And that's the truth. And if you've ever met her, you know what that means. And if you've been a longtime friend like Tom, you will totally understand that I'm a very different person now since I met my wife and since I married my wife. So, hun, I love you. Thank you for always being beside me and kicking my butt when I need it and motivating me to be a better person and to do fun things like this because this is actually really fun. You guys can do this too. Like, I'm telling you, you can do it too. It's really fun. Do it. Do it. Anyways, thank you, hun. Love you very much. Main event time. All right, here we go. Let's cover some ground rules. Now, this is the top 10 animated Disney movies. So we are not getting into Star Wars. We're not getting into Marvel, anything not live action. No, simply animated. Ground rules, 1 per franchise. We are not doing Lion King 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, 1 per franchise. No sequels. That was not a rule, but in the grand scheme of things, usually the first one is the better of any series. Other movies that aren't on this list aren't bad. They're not bad. I just haven't seen them, or they're just not my favorites. There are ones before I started watching Disney movies that aren't on this list. 100% I'll admit it, because I'm just not into them, or they're just not for me. Let's go ranking them. I'm ranking these as an overall love for the movie, not just moments. There will be a top 10 Disney moments list that will come a lot later. There are many movies out there that have great moments. Hunchback of Notre Dame is one of them. I will admit that is not on the list, but the Hellfire song is one of the best songs in the Disney universe. Just because it has one great song does not make it a top 10 movie, in my opinion. If you know me, and if you were at my wedding, Beauty and the Beast is number 1. It is an obvious number 1. It was my first Disney movie. It is my favorite Disney movie. Anybody who knows me knows this, so we're not counting it. Okay? Because it would be an easy number 1, and nobody would want to watch this because anybody who knows me and my wife knows that's our number 1. So Beauty and the Beast is automatically off the list. It is king. No comparison. So let me jump into this 1 second. Talk amongst yourselves. Okay. So let me throw this up on the screen. It's not going to be the best. Hopefully that is a good enough size. Unfortunately, if I do anything else with this, it's going to blow everything up. So let's start with number 10. And number 10 is Wreck-It Ralph. A modern classic, I feel. This is a movie that I never thought Disney would do. With the reputation of video game movies, I never thought Disney would risk it. And they did. And I feel like they did a damn good job with that movie. I was so happy with this movie. And the fact that there were licensed characters in it, but that they weren't it wasn't a Mario movie. It wasn't a Sonic movie. It was just a video game movie. I was so happy with this. I think they did a great job. I think it's what every video game fan wanted in a video game movie. And I feel like because it wasn't licensed, you didn't have the fandom problem of, I wish it was Sonic. I wish it was this. I wish it was just a game movie. You have the cameos, which I think was enough to get the gaming community into it. The casting John C. Riley and Sarah Silverman as Wreck-It Ralph and I want to say it's Penelope, but it's not. The girl, I can't remember her name. Wow, I blanked. Anyways, they were perfect. I think John C. Riley's voice fit Ralph perfectly, where I think he had that aggressive side to him, which you could tell it's what the character was sort of based on, but he also had that sympathy to him. And I think that voice worked really well. Sarah Silverman having that attitude behind her, thinking because she's glitching and having that, I'm better than everybody. I think that voice really fit that character well. And yeah, it was a very simple storyline that you could have made stupidly complicated, but simple storyline of just accepting yourself. Accept yourself for who you are. And that's okay for both characters and every character in that movie. So Wreck-It Ralph is one of my favorites. I've seen it a few times. I think they did a great job with it. I can't blame Disney for it. The sequel, it's a different story. Let's go to number 9. Number 9, I think a lot of people might have thought this would be a lot higher. Incredibles. The best Fantastic Four movie ever made. Let's be honest. It is the best Fantastic Four movie ever made. It is the best superhero family movie I think has ever been done. Yeah, like the dynamic of the family it's a real family. And I think that's what sucked so many people into it is that, Mr. Incredible is the dad that I think everyone would expect a dad of a superhero family to act like. Like he gets tired of being that superhero. The mom wants to go out and be the center of attention a little more. The kids are the kids. Like I think they work better as kids. I think those two characters, compare, obviously, like I said, this gets compared to Fantastic Four a lot. Having the kids be kids, I think works a little better than having Ben and Johnny as the Fantastic Four. I think having their dynamics and having the parents have that extra responsibility of having to supervise them is a great, great dynamic that I don't think anybody would have thought of before this movie. Like I said, each character is very relatable. I think each one of us sees ourselves in every one of them. Dash being I want to run into danger and not really think about it. The sister wanting to be sort of that, closed off person, not really wanting that spotlight. Elastigirl wanting, having to be the mom and still having to be a superhero. The past, I think that really works too, having them talk about their past and how they were the center of attention and now they're not anymore, and how superheroes are kind of not what they were. Jack is bloody hilarious. Jack is one of the best characters in the Disney universe, I think. And it's hard to make 4 to 5 characters all feel equal. I think we've seen in a lot of movies, such as, Guardians of the Galaxy, or, to the extremist form, Avengers, trying to make multiple characters feel equal in a hour and a half, 2-hour runtime. It can get complicated and it can get a real pain in the butt. But I think they did a great, great job making each one get their moment in the spotlight and give each one of them that emotional and that arc in the story that made you feel for every single one of them, including Jack, I think. So all in all, great movie. And of course, we cannot do any superheroes now with capes because everyone now knows no capes. I love the movie. I love them. And again, sequel wasn't bad, but I still think number 1 is the best. Number 8, a new one, Soul, is number 8 on my list. Soul was not one that I thought I would love as much as I did, and I'm an idiot for not thinking that. I'm an idiot for thinking that because it's a movie about music, and it's a movie about being an artist and having that artistic passion. And when I watched it, I was almost in tears. it was such an emotional movie because if you're an artist and you don't see yourself in those shoes, I don't know what to say. Like everybody that's seen it that has an artistic background has been like, that movie hits me in a personal level like I didn't think it would. Um, the afterlife world is something that I really enjoyed. I'm when it comes to make believe and science fiction and anything that's completely based in non-reality, I'm a really big fan if I watch something and I say I never would have expected it to look like that. Something like The Thing, seeing something so twisted and all over the place. My mind would never have went that way. And seeing the way the afterlife looks and the business side of it is just funny. And I think it's a great understanding of what the world is now and what the world will be like in the afterlife. It's sort of, I've seen it sort of written where, everybody has, it's everyone's free and angels and off enjoying paradise. But I find it funny that in the afterlife in this movie, it's kind of just like a business. And that makes sense because in the real world, everything's kind of like a business. So I really enjoyed that. And again, casting Jamie Lee Fox in that voice, like it, the sympathy of him when spoilers if you haven't seen the movie, when he dies and he has to come back, like the voice of Jamie Lee Fox is sympathetic, and in the artistic moments it's passionate, and another knockout of the park. There's one thing I will say about Disney is they pick people for these movies that, yeah, I would say Jamie would be a good choice. I would say even John C. Reilly and Sarah Silverman, but it hits extra when you actually see the final project and what it looks like. So, another amazing movie. Soul knocked it out of the park. They did a great job on that one. This next one, and this is going to be a slight spoiler for anyone that may be looking for specific movies through the rest of the list. This is my only, I would say, Disney princess movie, and that is Tangled. This is another one I really didn't expect to like this. Like, we've seen this story a billion times. We've seen it written and read it and heard it and watched it over and over and over again. But it works. Like, it's Rapunzel. We've known this story since we were babies, basically. But the way they write it and the mother and the side characters, it just brought me in and went, it feels like I've never heard this story before in my life. This is probably, besides obviously Beauty and the Beast, is my favorite Disney princess movie. Which again, there are movies that I haven't seen. I have not seen Snow White. I have not seen Cinderella. So they might be better. I sadly doubt it. So, the characters, you've got, I want Pascal or Pastel. Yeah. I want Pascal. He is one of the cutest creatures, and that he's an adorable chameleon. And I've seen chameleons in real life, and I know they're not this adorable, but that Disneyfying of that creature is adorable. And I would love to have him just running around my house, changing into different colors. He's such an emotional looking creature that I think would be just so fun to have around. What else? I have a couple notes here. Eugene Maximus, also like incredible side characters. Again, this is a story we've seen a billion times. We've known it since we were kids, but having someone like Eugene as someone who could be a villain, technically a anti-hero almost in other movies, and Maximus being the horse, which is their dynamic is a movie in amongst themselves, which I think Disney has pulled from and made that into, the Frozen pairing and use that in other films. But I think they did a bang up job on that. And the one thing, and I think this what stood out to me for sure. I have a little bit of animation background. I do have a lot of drawing, but actual animation, I only have a little bit. I know that animating hair is a pain in the ass. I've seen, if you're a gamer, you know this, and I've seen it and I've tried to do it. Trying to get hair look natural and flow is a headache and a half. But this was one of the first movies, if not the first animated movie, that I said, you guys got the hair down perfectly. It's almost its own character. It's done that well. So, applause to Disney for understanding that technology and getting it to work so well. And I think ever since then, the hair in most of Disney movies has gotten better. So I don't know if it was just a technology tweak they had to do, or if it was they just got the right artist to do it. But whatever it was, good for them. Let's see, what do we have here? Let's go into chat for a second. So we got Tara in here. I can't believe you forgot mine. Yes, I know it's been 2 weeks. Tara's top 3: Little Mermaid, Ratatouille, and Hunchback of Notre Dame, or Inside Out. Okay, we'll do 4. Little Mermaid, good choice. I know that is a big one for a lot of people, is a Little Mermaid. So I completely understand why that is on your list. Ratatouille might be on the list later. We'll see. We'll see about that one. I'm also a big fan of that movie. We're going to leave that there. Hunchback is another one. Like I said, I think that is one I saw late. I did not see that one until, I want to say, less than 10 years ago. Was when the first time I watched that whole movie. And it's not a bad movie. I really don't think it's a bad movie. I think Quasimodo's a good character. I think Esmeralda's a good character. It's not one of my favorites. If you're a fan of Hunchback of Notre Dame, and especially the swinging through the cathedral and up in the tower, after you're done the show, go to look up Apocalyptica Quasimodo. They have a song. It's an instrumental. I think it's called In the Bell Tower with Quasimodo. It is a really good song that I think should be, I don't know if somebody's put a mashup where they've taken footage from the movie and put this song over it, but it's one of my favorite Apocalyptica songs, and I think it fits perfect in, and I know the title is the movie, but I think it sets the tone for the movie, and I think would have fit very well if they were to do a live action remake, which they might. They've done everything else. Why not do that too? And Inside Out is a classic at this point. I think that is a one in a generational where everybody, adult, kid, everybody saw that and went, yeah, that hits me in the right way. Tara also said they had to make their own tech for Tangled. I believe it. I believe they had to make their own tech to make that hair, because that was just unbelievable from an animation perspective, especially if you look at movies that just came before and came after. Hands down, you can tell the difference. It's then we're going to talk about this in a little bit because it's on the list. When I saw a toy related movie, on the spoilable list, when I saw a toy related movie when I was a kid, and I've watched all of them since then, I watched the newest one, which I believe is 4, a couple months ago. And then I watched number 1. And I really didn't realize the technical difference between 1 and 4, but it really stands out. Not that 1 bad, but you can really see the evolution of animation from Pixar specifically in that vein. So going from a hand-drawn Disney to more of a CG version with the tech is just bravo for being able to implement it in all different ways, including the hair of Tangled. Let's go to number 6. This one is the one I told my wife about this list, and this one put a big smile on her face because she is a big fan of this, and so am I. It's Big Hero 6. Another movie that when I heard the concept of it, I thought it'd be okay, but it's such an enjoyable movie. And let's be honest, the side characters kind of have a backseat to Baymax. I mean, that is the star. Out of all of the characters that I would love to meet at Disney, he's number one. And I know friends like Meg have met him, and I think that's adorable. I would love to walk up and give him a hug because he is one of the cutest characters that I think Disney's ever produced. And I think with that, having Baymax have that lovable innocence about him, and I mean that in the absolute best way. I feel that the innocence of his character is something that I think helps push the character growth of every character in that movie. He is the lovable sidekick that almost every Disney movie has, but I think because it's such innocence, it makes it that much better. Like I think characters like a Mushu or a Pascal, they have a cocky attitude. They have, a little thing here and there. But I think Baymax having that innocence makes him just a little bit better than the rest of them. The story's good. The only critique I would give to it is I thought they could do a little more with the story, but I think it works. I think it works as a simple movie. I think if you complicated it too much, it would pull away from the brother dynamic and the dynamic of revenge that Betamax kind of, he's, like I said, he's an innocent bystander to this, I cannot remember the main character's name. It's something simple. It's like Ty or something. He's got such a revenge story that I think it's really good to see that innocence kind of pull him in. And Fred is the standout character. Having him be insanely rich after, I want to say, the mid to 3/4 point is hilarious. And having him be the son of Stan Lee is just one of those little Easter eggs that you're like, that is perfect. It really does work, and it really gives Fred that little extra riffle on his story that I think helps him stand out from just being that character. It really does help. So Big Hero 6, really good. I know Disney did put out the those little 5-minute things for Disney Plus with Baymax. I think it's like Baymax Rescue or something like that, where he goes around helping people. So I know I have to watch that because it looks really fun. I think they're only, like I said, 5 minutes. So far we've got Big Hero 6, Tangled, Soul, Incredibles, and Wreck-It Ralph. Number 5, we have Inside Out. This movie, as I said earlier, this is one that I think every person in the world gets. And I know with the world we live in now, the inclusion of everybody, inclusion of people who felt like they were never included before, whether that's, whatever sex, race, whatever you want to, whatever it is, if you feel like you're not included, this movie, it's you 100%. It's every single person. Every single person will completely understand of having that group of 5 in your brain trying to wrestle with each other, trying to overpower each other, trying to make your life as good as it can, or if some take over, as bad as it can. This one is again another one like The Incredibles, where each individual character has a moment to shine. It really sits back and allows, even though you follow joy and sadness the most, all of the other characters, when they pop up, get a moment. And that's, again, rare to get an equal footing for each one. The casting, again, is great, especially Lewis Black as Anger. If you've ever seen Lewis Black stand up, it fits perfectly as Anger, to the fact that I think if they didn't cast him, there'd be a bunch of people online saying that you chose wrong and it should have been Lewis Black. I loved him as Anger. I don't think, again, as everyone can relate to this, I don't think anybody can watch the Bing Bong section and not bawl their eyes out, because we all have Bing Bong. We all have that character from when we were a kid. And when you grow up, you have to say goodbye to your Bing Bong. And it's, it's, again, Disney being able to humanize every single thing in your life, in your brain, whatever you want. It really packs that punch to where that it has to happen. That Bing Bong can't be, your best friend forever, because you have to grow up. But it's seeing him be pushed to the side, or whatever you want to call it. It's heartbreaking and it's sad to see, but it was emotional and it was a great movie. And I think it left on a very good note. And I don't know if it needs a sequel. I know they've been talking at some points about doing an Inside Out sequel. I don't think it needs it. I think it's going to water it down. And I think it's going to lose the impact that movie had. So I say leave it. Leave it as a single. Don't mess around with it. Number 4. We talked about it earlier. I gotta make sure to spell it right. Ratatouille. This was the first Disney movie that surprised me. This was one that I did not see coming. I was like, the mouse that cooks, meh, doesn't mean anything to me. It's a good movie. It is. And it's funny because I actually do enjoy cooking. I enjoy going out and, improvising when it comes to my cooking and spicing things different ways and not really following a traditional recipe guide. So it makes me laugh that I actually was like, it doesn't matter to me, when actually it's kind of part of me. It was great. Remy is, again, another adorable side character that him being in control of it, trying to be a chef, the family not thinking that he can do it, trying to be somebody in a world that, it's the story of not being accepted into whatever world you want to be in. It's just to the extreme. He's a mouse, he's a rat that shouldn't be cooking because he's a rat, but he's actually one of the best ones out there. And it's a great story. The setting is amazing. Like, Paris, France looks beautiful. It is one of the few movies that I shouldn't even say one of the few movies. It is one of the first movies that the backgrounds stood out to me as just beautiful looking. Nighttime Paris, France looks amazing. And it's funny, when I remember watching this the first time, when I saw the movie and I saw that, the final dish is ratatouille, I didn't know it was a real dish. I just thought it was cool looking. I just thought it was some made up dish that they made for the movie. It wasn't until a few years later that I was like, oh, that's a real dish. And I've never had ratatouille because I don't know if I'll like it. But one day I really do want to have ratatouille. I know that you can get it in Disney at the Ratatouille restaurant, but I didn't end up going there. But I would love to try Ratatouille at some point. If somebody wants to make me Ratatouille, I would love to try it. In fact, I'll try it and I'll stream it on here or something, and I'll record it and give you my reaction to it, because I do think I would like it. But I don't want to say, I'm picky as hell when it comes to food. So that's 4. Let's go to number 3. If this is not on every hardcore Disney's list, I'm surprised. This should be on every top 10 list for every Disney fan. This movie, as much as Lion King, I think, kicked the door open for Disney, this is the movie that trumps them all. I think this is one that trumps them in that generation and just kicked the door open and showed that Disney's on another level than everyone else. The animation in this is still good today. The carpet ride through the Cave of Wonders when it's crashing down around them is still good looking. The quick-witted animation for Robin Williams is incredible still. Yes, it is a little dated, but you know what? It still works, even if you don't get the joke, which is what I was like when I first saw this movie. I laughed at every one of Robin Williams' jokes because it was funny. I didn't even understand the gag. I didn't understand the joke half the time, but just the way it's presented and the way it's animated is hilarious. I can't think of a bad song in this movie, too. This is one of the first movies that had a top to bottom, knock it out of the park soundtrack. 100%. I don't think, like I said, I don't think there's a bad song in this entire movie. The, Arabian Nights song, the Never Have a Friend Like Me, every one of these songs, Whole New World, again, every song is memorable. I think every song, if you hear it once, it's going to be stuck in your head and it's going to be on your playlist for Disney songs. That's why if you Google or YouTube Disney mashup song or Disney playlists, you're going to find multiple Aladdin songs because they're all catchy and they're all going to get stuck in your head. Like I said, the jokes hit for both adults and kids, and that's to Robin Williams. I don't think the movie would have been what it was and what it is without Robin. And it sucks that he's not here to tell him. He knew obviously how important he was to that franchise and that character, but that his improv in that was probably, and I believe it's documented, was kind of a nightmare for the animators, but it just brought a whole different element to that character. And I can't say anything bad about Robin Williams. And I wish he was still here because I would love the opportunity for the world to tell him how much he means still. And yeah. Damn, that sucks. Anyways, Aladdin, number 3. We're going into the top 2 now. Are your top 3? Is any of these on your top 10? If you have your top 3, throw it in the chat. I want to see what everyone else is saying. This is a good buddy of mine, Ron's number 1, and that is Toy Story. And man, is it close to my number 1 too. This was a tough one. This was tough not putting this at number 1. That Pixar, man, that animation as a kid is just mind-blowing. And I love that I was of the generation that I had a little bit of the hand-drawn, and I got to jump in feet first with this in 3D realm because you just don't get it. Jasmine is my Disney princess. Bud says JS. I get it. I get Jasmine I get Jasmine for sure. Belle is mine, but I get Jasmine 100%. I get Jasmine. Yeah, the animation just changed everything with Toy Story. Like you knew when you saw that the world is going to be different because like there's no words for it. Like even like I said, even as a kid seeing that movie was just different. And the I've said it almost every movie. The casting, Tom Hanks, Tim Allen. Like there are people who don't like Tim Allen because of his political stance. I don't care. He is Buzz Lightyear. Tom Hanks is Woody. Like those are two voices that will stand the test of time. And those characters were incredible and still are. Like that's why you've got 4+ movies out of that franchise, and it's still not a like, well, yeah, the first one was better. Yeah, the first one was better, but the last one was still a good movie. It wasn't a 10 out of 10, but it's still a good movie because they do an amazing cast in that franchise. It's hilarious for me to think of all the characters that Disney has created over the decades. Mickey, I shouldn't say Mickey because he's like the poster child. You've got, the princesses. You've got, who else? You've got the Monsters Inc. crew. You've got, who else? Aladdin, Lion King, etc. Two of the biggest characters in Disney franchise history is a generic cowboy and a generic spaceman. Like that's shocking to me that you can take those two concepts, which could work in the 30s, could work in the 60s, but worked in the 90s and will work until the day you die. That those two basic characters still worked and worked so well. Like I'm almost let's go into the story. The story of the camaraderie between the two, the understanding of someone else, the ego of Buzz Lightyear when he first gets there, and then realizing that he isn't a spaceman, that he's a toy, is some of the most heartbreaking animation when he does the dive off into the window and he doesn't make it. Like even back then for that first bit of 3D animation, you see the heartbreak in his eyes. And it's a bravo performance. And then the arc of him realizing that being a toy is fine and being side by side with Woody is just what he needs is, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's a great movie. It's a great movie. I can't say anything bad about it. So that is 9 of 10. We've got some of the heavy hitters. We've got Toy Story. We've got Aladdin. We've got great ones like Ratatouille, Inside Out, Big Hero 6, Tangled, Soul, The Incredibles, and Wreck-It Ralph. So what is number one? What is my number one? Is it Lion King? Is it Little Mermaid? Is it what else? Fantasia? Nope. It is Emperor's New Groove. The Emperor's New Groove is my absolute favorite Disney movie ever. Hands down. I've seen this movie more than anyone. And I've spelt it wrong. I just realized. Give me 1 second. Talk amongst yourselves. This is what happens when you try and do things and not look at the screen and try and be cocky about it. You look like an idiot. Emperor's New Groove. This movie is, oh man, the amount of memorable jokes in this movie is it's speechless. The amount of amazing characters in this movie, the voice acting, John Goodman, David Spade, Eartha Kitt, Patrick Warburton, and Tara, the absolute saga that it took to make it, is to think that it almost came to the point that they put all that time and effort into it and it almost didn't get made. If you don't know the kicking, screaming fight that had to happen to get this movie made, check it out on YouTube. There's a couple people who have almost 20, 30-minute documentaries on it. And it is the best Disney movie I've ever seen. This is my barometer. I'm a diehard. I'm a movie fan, as you're well aware. I see tons of different movies, good, bad, and different. Doesn't matter. I'll watch anything. My mom is not a movie fan in the slightest. Fun story. We went to see Star Wars when it came out in the re-release in the 90s. My mom's boyfriend, and I went to the theater, Cineplex Theater, not a mini theater, a big theater, to see Star Wars re-release. She was asleep in the chair before the scroll was done. She is not a movie person at all. The movies she has seen are like Christmas Vacation, Silence of the Lambs, Godfather, and maybe 5 or 6 more. This is a movie that she watched with her friend and came home and said, Michael, you have to watch this movie. You're going to love it. And when she said that, I knew I was going to, because if she loved it, there had to be, I couldn't hate it. The jokes in this, you pretty much are not laughing. You're pretty much laughing the whole movie. The jokes, again, are for adults and for kids. You've got jokes like Yzma pulling up her dress to show the knife, and Kuzco and Pancha screaming, and then when she shows the knife, they're calm. And we all as adults can understand why they scream. That is something that a kid is not going to laugh at, but the adult is going to pass out laughing because it's perfect. It's perfect. The story is so simple. Don't be a jerk. It's that simple. The whole story is around don't be a jerk when you have power. The king is in power. Don't be a dick. It's that simple, but it's done in such a fun way. Again, the story is simple, but it's done in a creative way with creative characters in a way that you wouldn't normally expect. You know, the emperor being turned into a llama, and then having the Yzma Kronk character being the best baffling sidekick and villain are incredible. I mean, I don't think anyone hears the word lever does not think of the term pull the lever and then yelling wrong lever. This is number one. And I think if you've seen the movie, you understand why it's number one. There are classics out there. Like I said, there are classics that are not on this list. Little Mermaid, Snow White, Pocahontas, etc. A lot of the Disney princess movies. But this one is just hilarious. And even now, watching it probably 50, 60 times, it's still hilarious. And I can't say anything bad about this. Like I said, if you don't know how this got made, go check it out, because it's kind of crazy that all of that work went into getting this movie made and Disney does almost nothing with it. That's shocking to me, that the fighting that had to go through to make this thing what it is. And I believe they had the characters at the parks for a certain length of time, but then they pulled them. And I'm like, this would be they have a roller coaster in the movie. Like, why have they not made an Yzma and Kronk roller coaster? right? Like somebody go to Disney parks and go, why not? So it's shocking to me, but it is still my number one. Those are my top 10. Emperor's New Groove, Toy Story, Aladdin, Ratatouille, Inside Out, Big Hero 6, Tangled, Soul, Incredibles, and Wreck-It Ralph. I hope that this list did not frustrate anybody, and I hope everyone enjoyed it. If you haven't already, please click the like, please click the subscribe. I greatly appreciate if you guys give this video a little bit of a boost, because I want Disney fans to come on here and tell me what they think their top 10s are, or top 3s are, top 5s are, or there's some Disney fans who just will tell me every single movie that Disney's ever made because they love all of them. Folks, thank you so much for tuning in. I greatly appreciate it. I'm going to leave you with one thing. At the end of all the shows now, we're doing a song that we're going to be putting into a playlist. If you are new to the show, I'm a huge music fan, and I've got a ton of weird songs and fun songs that I would love to show everybody, but unfortunately, I just am not able to. So this is my platform to do it. I've made a playlist on my YouTube channel. It's songs from Monday Night Nerd. Every week I'm putting a new song in there so you guys can go through it. It's going to be all different genres. I am a rock and metal fan, so there are going to be a little rock and metal sort of leaning, but there's going to be some that are completely different. Tonight, the song that has been added to the list, and you can go check it out after the show, it's called Bystander by Sumo Cyco. Now, you're probably wondering, who is Sumo Cyco? Well, you have actually probably heard the lead singer of Sumo Cyco. She is a local Hamiltonian, but her previous name back in the year 2000 was Sky Sweetnam, which you might remember her song Billy S. or Billy Shakespeare from back in the day. She had her pop star fame, and now she is leading a metal band from Hamilton called Sumo Cyco. I gotta see them live because I'm such a big fan of theirs. They have a song called Bystander, which I think is one of their best songs. Go check it out. And by the way, weird thing also, found this out today. She was born 3 days before me, or 4 days before me, which is crazy that we're pretty much the same age. But she's incredible. The band's incredible. Go check them out. Check out the playlist after the show. Folks, I can't thank you enough. Thank you so much for joining me. Let's talk about next week. So next week we have got I obviously am going to talk about my time at Frightmare. I'm going to talk about my time at Awesome Toy Show this weekend. However, I've also planned something else. So we're going to talk about that at the beginning of the show. But after the show, or should I say after that point, I'm going to do my first ranking. And I'm going to rank all of the Halloween movies. I've seen every Halloween movie, and I feel that it is going to be October 30th, just before Halloween on Devil's Night. I feel like it is appropriate to talk about my feelings on each one of the Halloween movies, because there are some that may be a little higher than a lot of people think. So we're going to talk about that next week. I'm going to be ranking them 1 through, let me check my notes. I think I've got 13. Yes, there's been 13. So we're going to go through all those, and I'm going to talk about, like I said, Frightmare and Awesome Toy Show. Folks, get on out of here. Have a good night. And if you haven't already, again, please like, subscribe, share, do all those fun things. Have a good week, folks. I will see you next week here on Monday Night Nerd. Peace. Hey, thanks for watching Monday Night Nerd. If you enjoyed this content, please hit the subscribe button, like this content, and follow on social media for even more nerdy fun. See you soon.